Hey guys, this is DFD, aka Dark Frozen Deaths, back with another Kamihime project video. This event it came a lot sooner than I honestly expected, but then again, it's more Adolan bricks you can get, so it's not bad. But this is the fourth guild competition we're having, so I am back on the screen again. And this time, it's going to be very, very interesting because this one is only 3 turns long, which is the shortest guild competition you will see thus far, and for a long time by the looks of it. It's another one where you have to get as much damage as possible throughout the entire battle, not just one turn. But because of how it works is how it's interesting. For starters, I will say this out the gate. If you are picturing yourself getting a full burst off, there's a very good chance you probably won't. So if you have a team that can get a full burst off, then you're going to have to do a lot of resetting, maybe for some luck or whatnot. But you need to have a certain setup in order to do as much damage as possible. So full bursts are almost all teams that can do a full burst is probably gone out of this equation because of how it works. Second, because it's so short, it's really going to have some really low damage scores overall compared to previous ones. Like the last one, there's been people that's gotten over 100 million in just one element. You might not see that up until the really high ranks for overall damage, not just one element. So, that said, I could say this. If you manage to get a score of at least 10 million on an element, you've done very good. I could say that right out the gate. So, this is going to be a tricky one if you're not prepared. But anyways, I had to skip past all that stuff because that's for number 8 with how they go through this stuff. Now, the initial attack power doesn't really matter. Of course, it doesn't have anything for HP because it's an infinite thing. The defense is normal. It's 10 again. The resistance is on standard, so there's a chance you might miss. There's a chance that you may not. So make sure to bring as much defense down as you can to score really high, especially since it's short. This is where things get interesting. There's no charge turns on this boss. There's no raging meter. That means there's no orbs and no mode changes. Here's the reason why. The very first turn, it will pretty much outright kill off one of the front 3 people. That means either the soul or the 2 Kamihime that's in front have a very good chance of getting killed off. The second turn, it will do the same for the back 2. Meaning whoever's in your 4th and 5th slots is at risk. Third turn is when it kills itself. It will just do a random normal hit and then just kill itself. But at that point, you can't do any more damage anyway, so you're better off just not worrying about it. Now, the thing with that is that it deals 35,000 damage with its first 2 turns each, and that's with advantage. You're pretty much not meant to survive this. However, in my case, I have a very, very high amount of HP. There's a chance I might be able to survive it, but generally speaking, I think a better strategy is in order because you're not supposed to really go too defensive in something that's a damage race. I mean, if there's a Kamihime that has it in there, maybe. But the general thing with this is to pretty much do as much damage as possible as quickly as possible. You're supposed to just go completely all out the gate. What really helps for this type of stuff, though, is Kamihime that have anything that makes them invincible for that turn. Like, say, Cybele Unleashed or Kuchulain. They both have an ability where it just nullifies all damage, period, point blank. But they also have the benefits of being able to do either some major debuffing or combo really quickly or just any sort of boon that will really help them out. And that's the benefit of Kamihime that has that type of stuff. And there's even more bonus points if they happen to have the ability to pretty much immediately fill up their burst gauges. I can say this right off the bat. There's going to be two souls that you should pay attention to. The first is the one you do not want to use, and that's Siegfried. Because there's no mode changes, she is 100% useless in this. Even Joan would be better than her. Even Andromeda would be better than her. Morgan, just any soul would be better than Siegfried because there's no mode changes. That makes Siegfried's stun useless. That makes her damage nuke pitiful damage because there's no rage mode. It makes one of her buffs useless. Don't use Siegfried at all. Someone who may actually shine for once is Arthur, because remember, she can buff the entire team. It's got a fairly decent damage nuke, but more importantly, she has the ability to instantly fill up her burst gauge. So, that said, Arthur might actually be the soul to use in this. More so if you're doing advantage, because I think she has a critical buff that she gives to everybody. So, there's that. But that's going to need mastery points in order to do that one, so keep that in mind. And even if you aren't able to pull off a full burst, I still would pull off your burst as soon as possible, because of the fact that that may indeed be the trick to actually do a lot of damage, instead of trying to go for all-out super full burst, do a lot of stuff in one turn. You might be better off just releasing it early. Especially if you can get it back very, very quickly. There's a few elements that are pretty good at that now. Light, fire, and wind come to mind very, very quickly for that. I've heard that there's some Kamihime that can actually do the same thing for both thunder and water. And then there may even be some good ones in dark as well. But as far as I know, you want Kamihime that can fill up their burst gauges very quickly or just outright get it. So keep that in mind. Now, the main thing is that you can cheese it a little bit if you happen to land Paralyzed or Dizzy, but it's not necessarily needed. If you happen to have somebody that can do a lot of damage but still cause one of these effects, maybe it might be worth giving them a shot, but otherwise I wouldn't really worry about it too much. The main trick is to try and fill up your burst gauges as quickly as possible. If you can get a full burst, so be it. If you can't, just let loose on what you have. Another option is to get a lot of ability damage in as well, because your abilities aren't coming off a cooldown unless you have something that's got an extremely short cooldown, like say 2 turns, or say that character is able to get a burst off and survives and they get their ability back. There's that too. But generally, you do not, I repeat, do not want to waste any time with this. You want to unload as much as possible, as soon as possible, unless you have a specific plan to set yourself up for one of the later 2 turns. And keep in mind that since you're getting one character killed off very, very quickly, you don't really have too much to work with. So you may just want to deal with the randomness factor or whatnot. I don't know. All I know is this. You will be retrying this quite a bit in order to try and get it perfected. Because there is so much random factors that can probably work against you in this one. More so than normal. So that said, you want to be able to do as much as you can. So that said, be absolutely sure that you break out some of your fastest characters, as in fast burst speed and all that. Some of the ones that can do a lot of damage out the gate. Just break that out. So my suggestion, the souls that will probably be the most useful would definitely be Arthur or Solomon. Shingen may actually have some use in this because she can fill up her burst gauges pretty quickly, but if she's the one that gets hit, then yeah, good luck. But you absolutely want to be able to do as much damage as possible as quickly as possible. Now, I'm not sure if the ranking rewards changed between the different ones. But more or less, you can actually clear stuff and get guild medals and dragonic eye shards, possibly some magic jewels and whatnot. Again, I'm not fully sure if they changed the list or not, but you can get some free stuff even if you don't rank too high. What you do want to do is rank very, very high as much as possible, so you are able to get that Idolin break limit brick. Because, well, it's not really a brick, it's more of a it's called a Chaldea, but you get what I mean. But you want to be able to do that in order to be able to break limit any SSR Idolin you have. And my suggestion, if you can't rank enough in order to get guild medals, you may want to save those up, because there are some pretty powerful Idolins that come out later down the line. Unless you're really adamant about getting the tickets, then go for it. I can't really stop you, but logically speaking, the break limit SSR item is the one you should aim for. We are also very close to this really, really powerful Idolin called Bayako, and what she'll do is for the next turn practically double the damage you do. You can only use her once per run, and you will need to max break limit her in order to get that double damage effect. But she is strong. She will end up having the best attack stats out of any Idolin, even better than the Kaisers. And she's the first of 6. So that said, you're going to want to be able to save up for that one. You may possibly want to be able to save up for other Idolins as well, just in case you get them. Other suggestions would be the 100% Idolins, even the normal Kaisers that's here right now, because you can get them with Idolin orbs. But basically, you want to be able to get that break limit item and be able to beef up some of your strongest SSR. If you're not lucky to pull any of those, you can still get a Kaiser eventually. They're not too bad to use them on either. I've done so on my light one, and I'm about to do it again. They have some very good stats as well, and some very good effects. That's my suggestion. Other than that, it's a very, very maybe on the tickets, because it's still randomness, and then free players might need them more than paying players, but at the same time, it's still more recommended to go for the break limit item. But other than that, there's not too much I can really say about it. Now, again, this is going to be a pretty much rank-based thing, so even if you aren't top ranks or whatever, just try your best at it. You'll still get some stuff for attempting the thing. And it can feed out quite a bit of nice rewards as well, so it's worth a shot. Again, my suggestion to you is to try and get teams that can really build up damage very quickly. Because I can almost guarantee that none of your stuff is coming off a cooldown unless it's extremely short. Or if you get lucky with a dizzy and the boss hangs around another turn. I don't know for sure if it will, because that seems quite abusable to get extra turns. If it works, have at it. If it doesn't, then oh well. Because quite frankly, the extra turns might indeed give you a bit more of an advantage. But it's not something you really should try to base your strategy around. It may be worth testing out once and seeing if it does work. If it does, then sure. If it doesn't, then focus on other stuff. Because honestly, if I can sneak in some extra turns with Raphael causing dizzy, then that would be great. But it's not really the primary strategy I have in mind. But anyways, that's all for this. More of this is going to come soon because we're almost done with the Typhon event. That means I'm going to have to cover the next event as well. Because these usually run alongside something like either an Advent or a raid event. Not to mention, we just recently got in the 3rd anniversary. At some point, we should get another part to that. But it's later down the line. I don't know if it technically counts as anniversary or whatever, but it's part of the voting contest or something. But there's quite a few things that we should be getting, and then the anniversary came very, very early. It really did. But there's that. Eventually, I will be doing the raid video because we're getting close to getting the next Guardian, the water one. I will try to finish that up because after that it's just the Phantom Guardian, and then we pretty much have all the raids we're going to get for a long time. Because there's rumors that there's going to be more raids on DMM, but they haven't been confirmed as of right now. And then from what I'm looking at as well, they brought back the Demon Union events, so there may be more shots at those old weapons. Who knows? There's quite a few things that seem to be stirring around, so I'm looking into it as I go. So other videos, you'll probably hear about that. You'll definitely hear about multiple events coming down the line, and I will try to finish off the raid event. I mean, not the raid event, the permanent raid videos in order to actually go through that. It may be two, it may be one, it depends on how long it takes. But anyways, that's all for this. More is going to come soon, and take care.